Thank you. First slide, I don't normally start with a slide which has my name on, but there's been a bit of confusion as to who was giving the talk this afternoon. Apologies, but in the programme it's down to be given by David Coppock, who's our International Trade Director for the North East of England. Unfortunately, David's a civil servant and as such is at the behest of the UK government and has been whisked away and is unable to give the presentation. For the more suspicious amongst you, I have to say that that's not because this is the last presentation of the day, nor even because not only is this the last presentation of the day, but the audience potentially has had the opportunity to sample alcoholic beverages since about 10 o'clock in the morning. That having been said, I'm one of the local managers in UKTI, and I appreciate the opportunity of talking to you about UK trade and investment. I guess the first question is, who are we? We do exactly what it says on the tin. We are the government department that helps people to export and also helps to encourage people to invest in the UK. We're actually a joint venture between BIS and the Foreign and Commonwealth Office. I think it helps just to have a look at some of the government ambitions for what we're trying to do in UKTI, not just us, but also the company in general. The first one on the list there, to double UK exports to £1 trillion by 2020. That's a huge ask, but it's a necessary ask with the current situation. We're also looking to have £100,000 more UK companies exporting. And the third one is a telling statistic. If we look at a benchmark of, say, Germany or another European company, around 25% of their SMEs actually export. In our case, it's only less than that, and we need to get up to the same levels. And the last two are just for inward investment into the UK. But I'd like to talk to you about trade and export. The export, I guess, because we'd really like to look at some of the statistics of companies that export. Companies that export are generally shown to be more productive, they're more innovative, they're certainly more interesting to work for. And on the trade side, it's nice to be able to talk about trade in the northeast of England because we are the only region in England that has a positive balance of trade, i.e. we export more than we import. A little bit more about UKTI, possibly some of the things you don't know about us. We're obviously an international organisation, but we've got over 2,000 employees in the various embassies and consulates around the world. And they're there to help local companies to do market research on their behalf and to actually help them get into the local markets. We've got local teams in the 9 regions, and we in the northeast here have got 20 international trade advisors who are here to help you export. As I said previously, I'm one of the team managers. We've also got a regional team in the region, and that's where David Coppock sits, or would be sitting if he hadn't been called away. How are we going to help? Well, we help UK businesses by giving them tailored advice. We help identify international opportunities. We help people overcome the barriers that are potentially there to exporting into new markets. Our mission in the North East is quite simple. We just want to increase the number of companies that are exporting, and the ones that are exporting, we want to increase the diversity of those exports and actually get them to export to new destinations, new countries, and I'll come on to that in a little while. As far as the network's concerned, 110 markets, 176 overseas locations. That's where we have the commercial officers to help you. We've also got the international trade advisors in the UK regions, and we've got other sector and market expertise. That's a picture of the network. Where it's dark grey, we're there. We've got an office there to help you. And the areas that are light grey are being filled in as we speak. And also, with some of the high growth markets, we'd like to encourage people to enter those. We've got them coloured in, as you can see. The top 4 are the BRIC markets, Brazil, Russia, India, China, I think everybody knows. The next one, the CIVITs, a little bit more of a difficult acronym, and the ones at the bottom, I'll rely on somebody else to come up with an acronym for that. There's too many companies there to get a sensible one. But I think the point is we're really trying to encourage people to go into those markets simply because of the high growth, and especially at the current times when the European and UK markets are quite slow. But we don't do that to the exclusion of all else. We look to which markets would be best for the companies involved. There's 3 ways we can help. The advice and support, information opportunities, and making it happen. And I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking about each one of those. On the advice and support, when you're preparing to trade, you've got the support of the local international trade advisors, such as myself. At times free, we'll come out to visit the companies, and we're looking to engage with as many companies as possible. And there's also some support available in some of our, I guess, services would be the best word. Passport Export, Gateway to Global Growth. I'll talk about those in a moment, but also Export Communication Review. This is one where we have an expert that will come into the business and help you look at how you communicate with the export world. And that can be as simple as looking at the website, looking at how you communicate with emails, the language difficulties. And I think probably about 70% of the work is done on websites, because if you have a look at somebody like the HSBC's website, the different markets have completely different parts of the website. If you go to Germany, there's all glass panels, there's people standing around talking with suits and ties on, like myself. If you look at Italy or Spain, then nobody's got a tie on. It's a much more relaxed environment, and it's important you actually tailor your website to pick up that trade. Passport Export, I'd like to talk about just for a moment or two. It's a 12-month program, and it's designed for first-time exporters, or people who've exported perhaps reactively in the past and are looking to proactively export now. There's a management workshop as part of the course, and you would sit down with the International Trade Advisor and agree a potential 12-month plan as to which markets you wanted to go to, what products you wanted to export, and what potentially was available to help you there. There's also some matched funding available in the UK. It's not a lot of money, but it's £3,000, so it'll help you get into the markets by helping you travel out there. The next one, Gateway to Global Growth. That's designed for more experienced exporters, as it says on the top, between 2 and 10 years exporting. It's a very similar program in that we have a strategic review, we look how we're going to develop the company, and we try and go at the company's speed. We look at which markets the company's either got an idea of, or if they're looking for ideas from us, we can help them that as well. We've also in the northeast of England got international trade courses, where you can actually go away on a 2-day or a 4-day course, which is part of the program, and learn more about the nuts and bolts of exporting. On the information opportunities, we'd always say it's impartial advice, and we'd always ask people to have a look at the website. It's up there, ukti.gov.uk. It's got a lot of business opportunities on, and it's got a lot of market and sector information. Looking at the market information, I pulled this page up from Germany, from the website last night. It doesn't matter that you can't read all of it, but it's very similar for each of the markets. At the top right-hand side of the page, there's a sector there on how to do business in the market, perhaps some opportunities in the market, and there's a page there for virtually every country. But looking at the sector specialists, obviously in the nature of this event, I've looked at the food and drink page. And if you have a look at the food and drink page, it's laid out in the same way, but at the bottom left-hand side, there's actual business opportunities there. The fifth one down, there's a major Philippine food company looking for potential UK manufacturing partners. That's an actual opportunity. Nobody paid for that. What happened was one of the people in our embassies and consulates found the opportunity and put it on the website. If you as a company register on the website and set up your email alerts, then as and when one of those opportunities comes onto the website, you'll get an email pinged to your desk, and it'll say, are you interested in the opportunity or not? If not, then bin the email. If you are, then there'll be a link to follow to go to learn more about the opportunity. And it's a really good way of getting business opportunities. If you're looking for more specific advice, then we've got a service which is a chargeable service, heavily subsidised, but it's chargeable nonetheless, the Overseas Market Introduction Service. This is done by the different people in the embassies and consulates around the world, and we tailor this to your requirements. If you want to look at potential partners, potential customers, we can do market research about that. There's also market visits that we can support on the program. We can arrange product launches. It's very specific for whatever your requirements are. I've got one local company who supplies into B&Q. They've carried out several of these OMAs around the world, and they basically get the local company, the local employees of UKTI to go into a B&Q type of company in that country, have a look to see what product offer is available, what the pricing is, how it's wrapped, and they can then work out with some knowledge of the potential distributor markups whether the market is actually possible for them or not. Very quickly, very simply, without any travel at all. But you can also use the British Embassy premises themselves to do product launches. We've done several for food and drink companies where they've done tasting sessions or product launches in the embassies and consulates. That is an embassy, a consulate, or an ambassador's residence somewhere around the world, just in case you haven't seen one. I am embarrassed to admit I don't know which embassy or consulate or ambassador's residence that is, but since I got the picture from the UKTI website, I am assuming it's one of ours. Making it happen, we've got some bespoke services, as I've said, but also we've got market visit support. So we've got market visits going to all over the world this year, from Sweden to Australia to America, Russia, India, China. And they're a very good way of getting people across into the market and actually having a look to see what the conditions are like in the market itself. We'll also support people if you're going to exhibit abroad. There's grants of up to £2,500 available for that. Meet the buyer events and other opportunities. There are a couple of recent additions to the UKTI offer, and I'll just quickly talk about those. UK Export Finance Advisor. The old Export Credit Guarantee Department rebranded themselves about a year ago into UK Export Finance. And I think if you say Export Credit Guarantee Department, then people will think of Rolls-Royce, British Aerospace, £100 million contracts where they've had some help from the government in securing the contract. It's now changed. We're down to contracts of £25,000, £10,000, very much to look for the SME market. And there's also ways in which we can help with potentially looking at agreeing with the buyer to give some insurance from the buyer's point of view. So there's a lot of things which we can do now in export finance. On the mid-sized businesses, from sort of 25 million to 50 million, sorry, 25 million to 500 million pound turnover, we've got some international trade advisors who now deal specifically with that sector. And in the northeast of England, we do have some EIDF funding as well. I think at the end of the day, we'd just like to leave the message that if you're thinking about exporting, if you are exporting anywhere in the world, then please get in touch with us. We're here to advise you, and we should be able to help. And you can obviously contact us on any of the ways that are on the screen at the minute. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen,